Welcome to the deep dive. Today, we're going to be looking at 5Paisa Capital Ltd. They just released a ton of documents.
Wow.
Fresh off the press today, January 17th, 2025.
Nice.
We're talking financials, presentations, board shakeups, all the good stuff.
Yeah, you've chosen a great time for this deep dive.
Really?
Oh, yeah. The Indian stock market has been a real roller coaster.
Oh, wow.
Demot accounts opening like crazy. Derivative trading hitting record highs.
Oh, wow.
It's a wild ride.
So 5Paisa is right in the middle of all this.
Right in the thick of it.
Buckle up, everybody.
Yeah.
I'm going to break it all down. What it means for 5Paisa, their
Yeah.
financial health,
Okay.
what moves they're making,
Right.
and what the future might hold for them. First things first.
Yeah.
Paint the picture for
Right.
us. What's the overall scene?
Okay.
For a company like 5Paisa right now?
Imagine a digital-first brokerage firm
Okay.
trying to stay afloat in a market that's exploding with new investors.
Oh, wow.
That's 5Paisa's reality.
So a ton of opportunity.
Absolutely.
But also
Yeah,
a ton of competition.
a ton.
Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah.
So how are they handling it?
Right.
Let's start with their financials.
Okay.
What's the story there?
Well, it's a mixed bag.
Okay.
On the one hand, their revenue dipped a bit this quarter.
Okay.
On the other hand, their overall profit and key margins actually went up.
Really?
Yeah.
So even though their revenue went down,
Yeah.
their profit went up.
Plus, they're managing more money in mutual funds than before.
Interesting.
Yeah.
It's like they're playing it a bit safer,
Yeah.
focusing on the bottom line.
Right.
Instead of just grabbing new customers left and right.
Yeah, like just chasing growth.
Yeah, that's interesting.
Yeah.
Especially since you mentioned this crazy growth spurt in the market.
Right.
So why pull back like that?
It could be a few things.
Like what?
Maybe they're trying to make sure they can handle all these new investors without things getting messy.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Or maybe they're seeing a better return
Okay.
by focusing on the customers they already have, getting them to invest more.
Yeah, that's smart.
Yeah.
Keeping your current customers happy is just as important as bringing in new ones.
For sure.
But speaking of keeping people happy, they're also making some big changes to their digital platforms, right?
Absolutely.
Okay, tell me about that.
They're going all in on the tech front,
Uh-huh.
which is crucial in this digital-first world.
Right.
Yeah. Think revamped web platforms with the latest frameworks, like React.js, mobile apps built on Flutter,
Okay.
and a whole slew of new features
Wow.
designed to make trading smoother and more intuitive.
Give us some examples.
Yeah.
What kind of features are we talking about?
Well, there's this thing called VTTOCO. Basically, it lets you set your stop loss and target orders for an entire year.
Wow. Okay.
No more constantly adjusting things.
That's great.
They've also added position grouping,
Okay.
which helps you keep track of your investments more easily.
So it's all about
Yeah.
making the user experience better.
Exactly.
And I hear they've made it even easier to get started with investing.
Oh, yeah.
Tell us about that.
Their online REKYC process.
RKYC.
Yeah, that stands for Electronic
Okay.
Know Your Customer.
Oh, okay.
It's basically a digital way to verify your identity. So you can start investing within 24 hours.
Wow.
No more waiting around for paperwork to clear.
That's huge.
Yeah.
Especially for someone who's new to investing,
Right.
wants to jump right in.
Totally.
But hold on.
Go ahead,
There's
Ken.
more big changes at the top too, right?
You got it.
A new captain at the helm.
Mr. Gaurav Sefith is stepping in as the managing director.
Yeah.
He comes from a strong fintech background with experience at big names like Paytm Money
Okay.
and even Morgan Stanley.
So what does that tell us about where 5Paisa might be headed?
Well, it seems pretty clear they're looking to seriously step up their tech game and innovate even more.
Okay.
Seth's background suggests
Yeah.
they're aiming to become a real powerhouse in the digital finance world.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
So we've got a company with a mixed financial bag,
Right.
a laser focus on digital upgrades, and a new leader with a serious tech pedigree.
Definitely.
But wait, there's one more piece of the puzzle.
What's that?
ESG.
Oh, right.
What's 5Paisa doing on that front?
You know, it's interesting.
Yeah.
They're actually making some notable efforts in the ESG department.
ESG?
Yeah, environmental, social, and governance.
Oh,
They're
wow.
talking about things like making sure their workplace is diverse and inclusive,
Okay.
reducing their environmental footprint,
Okay.
you know, going paperless and such, and really beefing up their data security.
So they're not just about profits.
Right.
but doing business the right way.
Yes, these days.
And these days, investors are looking at more than just the bottom line.
Absolutely.
Showing that you care about ESG can be a major plus.
For sure.
Okay, so far, we've got a company riding a market wave, focused on profitability over breakneck growth, going all in on tech,
right,
and even dipping their toes into the ESG pool.
It's a lot.
It is.
Yeah.
Where do we go from here?
Well, we've only scratched the surface.
Really?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Let's dig deeper into these reports and see what else we can uncover.
Okay.
About 5Paisa's inner workings and their plans for the future.
Sounds good to me.
Yeah.
All right, let's roll up our sleeves and dive deeper into these financial reports.
You say.
I'm curious about how 5Paisa actually makes money. Is it all just brokerage fees, or
That's a great question.
do they have other tricks up their sleeve?
It looks like they're not putting all their eggs in one basket.
Yeah.
Beyond the usual brokerage fees, they're getting into mutual fund distribution subscriptions and even some interesting partnerships.
Oh, wow.
It's like they're building a whole financial ecosystem.
Smart move.
Yeah.
Especially with this whole market boom we're seeing.
Right.
It makes sense to have multiple streams of income.
Definitely.
But let's get back to their core business for a second.
Okay.
I noticed their revenue dipped a bit this quarter, but their actual profit went up.
Right.
How does that work?
They seem to be masters of efficiency.
Really?
Yeah, even though revenue took a small hit,
Okay.
they managed to tighten their belts and improve their margins. Their cost-to-income ratio.
Cost-to-income ratio.
Yeah, which basically measures how much they spend for every rupee they earn.
Okay.
Has gotten significantly better.
So they're getting more efficient.
Plus, their return on net worth,
Okay.
which shows how well they're using their investments to generate profit,
Right.
is a healthy 19%.
Okay, so they're making the most of what they have.
Yeah.
But earlier we talked about this massive growth in the market.
Right.
Shouldn't they be swimming in new customers?
Right.
Their report showed a dip in new acquisitions, right?
Right. They only added about 1.11 lakh new customers this quarter.
Okay.
A 31% drop from the last one.
Hmm.
Now, that could be a red flag for some,
Yeah.
but there are a few things to consider.
Like what?
Well, for starters,
Uh-huh.
competition in the brokerage world is fierce right now.
Okay.
Everyone's vying for a piece of the pie.
Makes sense.
Plus, remember those new regulations on derivative trading we talked about?
Oh, right. Yeah.
Those have probably put a damper on overall market activity, affecting everyone.
Ah, right. Those limitations on weekly contracts.
Yeah.
And the changes to contract sizes.
Exactly.
It makes sense that would have a ripple effect.
But here's the interesting thing.
What's that?
Instead of panicking about getting new customers,
Uh-huh.
5Paisa seems to be doubling down on the ones they already have. They're talking about increasing lifetime value,
Lifetime value.
basically making sure their existing customers stick around and invest more over time.
Okay, so it's less about quantity and more about quality.
Exactly.
Interesting. They're focusing on building those long-term relationships and encouraging deeper engagement on their platform.
Okay.
Plus, they're getting into cross-selling.
Cross-selling.
Yeah. Pushing products like mutual funds and small cases.
Small cases.
Those are like curated baskets of stocks.
Okay.
Kind of like a pre-made investment portfolio.
Ah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Giving people more options to invest
Right.
and keeping them engaged with the platform.
Exactly.
Smart.
Speaking of engagement,
Yeah.
their investor presentation was singing the praises of their mobile app.
Oh, really?
Tons of downloads and great reviews.
What's the story there?
Well, their app seems to be a hit.
Okay.
They've got over 21.2 million installs.
Wow.
With an average rating of 4.3 stars.
That's pretty good. That's pretty impressive.
Yeah.
It seems like they've nailed the user experience, which is crucial for attracting and retaining customers
Right.
in this mobile-first world.
They're also touting their amazing customer service.
Oh, yeah.
I saw something about a high CSAT score.
Uh-huh.
What is that exactly?
CSE stands for Customer Satisfaction Score.
Okay.
It basically measures how happy customers are with the service they receive.
Right.
And 5Paisa is boasting a score of 91%.
Wow.
Which is pretty darn good.
That is good.
They're also rocking an 85% first-time resolution rate.
Okay.
That means they're solving most customer issues on the first try.
Wow. So they're not just about flashy tech,
Right.
but actually taking care of their customers too.
Exactly.
It's nice to see a company putting effort into both sides of the equation.
Absolutely. And, you know, in a market that's becoming increasingly crowded,
Yeah.
having great customer service can really set you apart.
All right, let's switch gears for a moment
Okay.
and revisit the ESG thing. Earlier, we mentioned they were making efforts in that area.
Right.
But can you give us some specifics?
Sure.
What are they actually doing?
Well, they're taking a multi-pronged approach,
Yeah.
focusing on their people, the environment, and good governance.
Okay.
They talk about promoting a diverse and inclusive workplace,
Right.
ensuring equal opportunities,
Okay.
and prioritizing employee well-being.
That's great.
Yeah,
Happy employees usually translate to happy customers.
for sure.
What about the environmental side of things?
They're pretty proud of their digital onboarding process.
Oh, yeah.
Remember that quick REKYC process?
Yeah.
That eliminates tons of paperwork.
Makes sense.
They're also moving towards completely electronic documentation,
Okay.
minimizing their paper usage.
So they're embracing the paperless revolution.
Yeah, which is good for the planet.
Right.
And probably their bottom line, too.
Makes sense.
And what about the G in ESG?
The governance part.
Yeah, what are they doing there?
What are they doing there?
They're emphasizing their commitment to data security,
Okay.
which is super important in this digital age.
Right.
They even have the ISO 27001.2019 certification.
Oh, wait.
Which is a fancy way of saying they meet international standards for information security.
So they're taking data privacy seriously.
Yeah.
You know, all these ESG efforts might not be directly related to their financial performance.
Right.
But it's good to see them thinking about the bigger picture.
Absolutely. And these days,
Right.
more and more investors are factoring ESG performance into their decisions.
Okay.
It's not just about profits anymore.
Yeah.
It's about investing in companies that are doing the right thing.
Speaking of doing the right thing,
Yeah.
let's talk about this leadership shakeup.
Okay.
We already mentioned the new managing director,
Uh-huh.
Mr. Gaurav Seth.
Right.
What kind of impact do you think he'll have on the company?
I think his arrival is a pretty big deal.
Okay.
Remember, he comes with a ton of experience in fintech and digital wealth management. Having worked at places like Payteam Money and Morgan Stanley,
Right.
he's seen firsthand how technology is transforming the financial world.
So he's not just a suit.
Right.
He's a tech guy who gets it.
Exactly.
Okay.
And I think that's exactly what 5Paisa needs right now.
Mhm.
Someone who can guide them through this rapidly evolving landscape
Right.
and help them stay ahead of the curve.
It'll be interesting to see how he puts his stamp on the company.
Yeah.
What kind of changes do you think he might make?
Well, I'm betting he'll be pushing for even more innovation,
Mhm.
especially when it comes to their technology platform.
Mhm.
And he might even look to expand their product offerings,
Mm.
perhaps venturing into new areas of digital finance.
Interesting.
Yeah, he's got the experience to really make 5Paisa a major player in the market.
All very exciting stuff.
Yeah.
But before we get too carried away,
Hmm.
let's not forget that pesky little issue with the MCX penalty.
Oh, right.
It might be stayed for now,
Yeah.
but it's still a pretty big deal,
Oh,
right?
absolutely.
That U-159 illion 75,000 penalty.
Yeah. Even if it's on hold.
Right.
Raises some questions about their risk management and compliance procedures.
Makes sense.
It's a reminder that even companies with strong financials and cutting-edge tech
Uh-huh.
need to make sure they're playing by the rules.
The report did mention they've taken steps to improve their reporting and compliance after that incident.
Right.
Do you think that's enough?
Well, it's a good first step,
Okay.
but they'll need to prove they've really learned from this experience
Mhm.
and have implemented robust systems to prevent similar issues in the future.
Okay.
Investors will be watching closely to see how they handle this.
Okay, so compliance is key.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
Now, I want to go back to their client funding book for a second.
Okay.
You mentioned earlier that a whopping 98% of their client funding
Uh-huh.
comes from users with less than 1 lakh exposure.
Right.
That's pretty amazing, isn't it?
It is.
It shows they're not just catering to the big fish,
Oh.
but making investing accessible to the average person.
Okay.
It's a testament to their commitment to democratizing financial services.
And their average client funding book size has been steadily increasing, too.
Yeah.
It seems like they're attracting more and more people
Right.
who are willing to entrust them with their money.
Exactly. And you know what else is interesting?
What's that?
Their low per client exposure suggests they're being responsible with lending and risk management.
Okay.
They're not putting all their eggs in one basket, so to speak.
So they're spreading the risk,
Right.
which is always a good thing.
Definitely.
All right, we've covered a lot of ground here.
We have.
We've looked at their financials,
Uh-huh.
their tech upgrades,
Yeah.
their ESG initiatives,
Mm.
their new leadership,
Mhm.
and even their regulatory hiccups.
A lot.
What's your overall impression of 5Paisa so far?
Mm.
Are you feeling optimistic?
I am actually feeling pretty optimistic about 5Paisa's future.
Really?
Yeah, they're clearly a company that's embracing innovation, prioritizing the customer experience. Okay.
And making smart moves to adapt to this ever-changing market.
They're definitely positioning themselves as a leader in the digital finance space.
For sure.
But those declining new customer acquisitions
Right.
and the looming MCX penalty
Yeah.
are definitely something to keep an eye on.
Absolutely. Their ability to address those challenges and maintain their strong financial performance
Okay.
will be crucial to their long-term success.
All right, let's take a quick break.
Okay.
And when we come back,
Yeah.
we'll delve into their corporate presentation and explore their plans for the future.
Sounds good.
What do they have in store for us?
Oh, I don't know.
Stay tuned. All right, we're back.
Yeah.
Ready to unpack 5Paisa's grand vision for the future.
Let's do it.
They laid it all out in their corporate presentation. Sounds like they've got some ambitious plans.
Yeah, definitely ambitious.
What stood out to you?
Well, their commitment to tech really shines through.
Okay.
They're constantly refining their platforms, adding features that make investing smoother and more user-friendly.
Right.
Remember those platform upgrades we talked about?
Oh, yeah.
The revamped web platform built on React.js?
Yeah.
And the mobile app's move to Flutter.
Right.
Those weren't just random updates. They were strategic moves
Okay.
to create a more robust and scalable foundation for their future.
It's like they're building a digital fortress,
Yeah.
ready to handle whatever the market throws at them.
Exactly.
And they're not just stopping at the basics.
Woo.
They're also rolling out some pretty innovative features, right?
Right. Things like VTT, OCO, and
Yeah.
position grouping show that they're really thinking about what investors need
Okay.
and trying to stay ahead of the curve.
And let's not forget about their online REKYC process.
Oh, yeah. That's huge.
That's a game changer for new investors.
for sure.
Letting them dive right in without getting bogged down in paperwork.
Totally agree.
It's all about making investing accessible and hassle-free.
Yeah, making it easy. But they're not limiting themselves to just stocks, are they?
Nope, not at all.
It seems like they're branching out
Yeah.
and offering a wider range of investment options.
Right, they're pushing into mutual funds in small cases.
Oh.
Recognizing that investors have different needs and risk appetites.
That makes sense.
Yeah, it's smart to diversify their offerings and cater to a wider audience.
And they're hinting at even more to come, right?
Yeah.
They mentioned exploring partnerships to offer a whole suite of financial products and services.
That's the trend we're seeing across the financial world.
Hmm.
Platforms are becoming one-stop shops for everything money-related.
Yeah.
5Paisa seems to be positioning themselves to be a major player in that space.
And with their new managing director,
Right.
Mr. Gaurav Seth,
Yeah.
at helm.
They've got someone with the experience and vision to lead them into this new era.
But beyond the tech and the strategy, it seems like 5Paisa is also focusing on building a strong internal culture.
Okay.
One that values innovation
Yeah.
and puts the customer first.
You can tell they're serious about attracting and retaining top talent. They talk a lot about employee well-being, development opportunities,
Okay.
and creating a positive work environment.
Happy employees often translate to happy customers.
Absolutely.
And speaking of customers,
Yeah.
they're clearly making them a top priority too.
Right.
Those impressive customer satisfaction scores and first-time resolution rates speak for themselves.
It's obvious they're investing in building a stellar customer service operation.
Okay.
And that's crucial in today's competitive market.
So they're building a solid foundation,
Yeah.
embracing technology, expanding their offerings,
Right.
and fostering a customer-centric culture.
Definitely.
Sounds like a recipe for success.
It does.
But what are your final thoughts on 5Paisa's journey and their prospects for the future?
Well, they're definitely at a pivotal point in their growth.
Okay.
The market is dynamic.
Right.
And competition is fierce. But they seem to be making all the right moves to not just survive, but thrive.
They're facing challenges, of course.
Yeah, for sure.
Those declining new customer acquisitions and the potential fallout from the MCX penalty.
Yeah, those are still lingering concerns.
It'll be interesting to see how they tackle those hurdles.
Absolutely.
Their ability to maintain strong financials, manage risks effectively,
Yeah.
and stay ahead of the innovation curve will ultimately determine their success.
Totally agree.
So we've taken a deep dive into 5Paisa's world,
We have.
their financials, their tech,
Yeah.
their leadership.
Their challenges.
Right.
And their vision for the future.
What's the key takeaway for our listener today?
5Paisa is a company on the move, embracing innovation,
Okay.
and positioning themselves as leader in the digital finance space.
Right.
But like any company,
Yeah.
they face challenges. Whether they can overcome those hurdles and capitalize on their strengths remains to be seen.
It's a story that's still being written.
Yeah.
And we'll be watching closely to see how it unfolds.
And for our listener out there,
Yes.
don't just take our word for it. Dig into those source documents yourself.
Okay.
Explore their website. See what the analysts are saying.
Yeah.
And form your own conclusions about 5Paisa's future.
That's what the deep dive is all about.
Right.
Giving you the tools and insights to become a more informed and empowered investor.
Exactly.
Thanks for joining us on this journey.
Yeah. Thanks for listening.
And we'll see you next time for another fascinating deep dive.